February 24th, 1942, Los Angeles, California. It's less than 3 months since the Japanese Imperial Fleet launched a surprise attack on American forces at Pearl Harbor, killing 2,400 and bringing the United States fully into World War II. On the home front, the possibility of another attack on American soil is now very real, especially in the nation's biggest coastal cities.
There's widespread fear that Japan will attack the U.S. mainland next, and the U.S. military has vowed never to be caught off guard again.
So to bolster its defenses, anti-aircraft guns have been placed all around the city, bunkers have been built, and air raid protocols have been drilled into the population.
After Pearl Harbor, the United States has been practicing blackout drills in every coastal city out of fear of an aerial attack.
The purpose of these blackouts is so that enemy planes can't see the lights of the city.
The enemy might send hundreds of bombers to fly towards American cities and drop bombs almost indiscriminately across any urban zone. At night, it's very hard to engage in aerial navigation. However, the lights of a city could make it very obvious if you were near your target.
By now, Los Angeles has been through so many blackouts, the LA Times has nicknamed it the City of Shadows.
The city's ordeal begins with a typical blackout drill on the night of February 24th, 1942.
No lights anywhere. Not a cigarette is allowed to be lit on the street for fear of giving away any type of location to a potential enemy. Even all the radio stations in LA go completely silent.
At 10:23 p.m., the blackout is lifted, and Angelinos go to bed thinking it was just another drill. But at 2:21 in the morning, LA residents wake to the scream of air raid sirens, and the city is again thrust into darkness.
Searchlights start sweeping over the skies, and you have all of these people starting to run out of their homes trying to see what it is that they're looking at.
It's becoming increasingly clear whatever's happening in Los Angeles isn't just another drill. At 3:06 a.m., the searchlights converge on a target over Culver City, and Los Angeles erupts.
The 37th Coast Artillery Brigade starts firing 12-pounder guns that lob 3-inch shells up into the atmosphere. The sound is enormous. A lot of the people mistake it for the impact of bombs striking the earth from enemy attack.
You can only imagine what the sky had to have looked like that night. You've got these orange tracer lights in the air, bursts in the sky. No one had ever seen anything like this in the United States. To a lot of people in Los Angeles, it seems like it's the end of the world, like it's doomsday.
Phone calls flood the city's information lines with wildly differing accounts of sightings in the sky.
Eyewitness reports start pouring into military authorities. We have reports of hundreds of enemy aircraft flying overhead. We have reports of aircraft crashing throughout the Los Angeles area, presumably shot down by air defenses.
The only lights you've got are the searchlights and the anti-aircraft guns firing, which just add to the sense that they are in a war zone. This is absolute pandemonium. A lot of people are just trying to get the hell out of there. They're piling into cars and driving. There's gridlock. 5 people are killed. 3 fatalities as a result of traffic accidents in the chaos. And 2 people die of stress-induced heart attacks. And it's pitch black.
But nothing's been shot down. No bombs have been dropped. What's the story? What actually happened?
Military command orders a ceasefire at 4:14 a.m. They officially lift the blackout at 7:25 a.m. Daylight brings more questions than answers, as local newspapers print a flurry of conflicting reports.
The most iconic image from this event is a photograph that appears in the newspaper with 8 spotlights shining up into the sky on this object that's floating in the middle. You can't really make out what the object is because it's brightened up by all the spotlights.
But not even the military can agree on what, if anything, was there.
The Secretary of the Navy, Frank Knox, came out immediately after the Battle of Los Angeles and announced that the air defense guns had been firing at nothing. He says this is a result of rising panic, of jittery nerves, that those manning the coastal defense batteries were also scared.
But then Henry Stimson, the Secretary of War, gives a press conference, and he says, no, there were planes present, and they weren't United States aircraft.
In 1942, the concept of a flying saucer isn't really part of the American lexicon at all. However, investigators looking back on the Battle of Los Angeles essentially backdate that idea into the stories surrounding what might have happened that night.
Some of the eyewitness statements help fuel this theory that this is a UFO. Because of this strange ability to be very slow on the radar, and then suddenly it speeds up, that it's maybe hovering, then suddenly it's moving very fast, that it's at a low altitude, and then it's at a high altitude. All of these help fuel this idea that maybe this is some kind of unknown aircraft from another planet that's coming down to Earth.
There are going to be questions from the highest ranks of leadership and command in the military and civilian government. And reports about this incident go all the way to the Secretary of War. They go all the way to U.S. Army Chief of Staff George Marshall. And they have to report to the president what happened in L.A.
Proponents of the UFO theory point to a series of unauthenticated memos.
There are a number of documents floating around purporting to be from George Marshall to FDR, talking about the recovery of two craft. One of these was apparently recovered off the coast between Los Angeles and Catalina Island, the other in the San Bernardino Mountains.
Marshall also goes on to allegedly explain to FDR in these memos that the objects that were recovered didn't resemble any conventional aircraft, and he presumes that whatever these objects were of an interplanetary origin.
The eyewitness reports that come in the night of the air raid include many descriptions of unusual aircraft. The U.S. will encounter even more unidentified flying objects as the war continues.
Towards the end of World War II, Allied pilots begin to describe being followed by very strange lights over the skies in Europe, and they nicknamed them Foo Fighters.
Whatever these objects were, it was said that they would usually shine in red, yellow, and green. They would fly alongside the Allied aircraft at speeds up to 200 miles an hour. Sometimes there would be one, sometimes there could be several of them.
Some ufologists speculate that FDR himself was a believer in extraterrestrial life.
Allegedly, this unauthenticated memo written by FDR in February of 1944 is sent to a special committee on non-terrestrial science and technology. Supposedly, in this memo, FDR is slowly coming to grips with the idea that the planet Earth is not the only one that's able to house intelligent life. He says that we will take advantage of these wonders that have come to us after we've won the wars.
We already knew how easily excitable the American population was from an event from 1938.
I'm speaking from the roof of Broadcasting Building, New York City. The bells you hear are ringing to warn the people to evacuate the city as Martians approach.
Orson Welles and his radio broadcast dramatization of the War of the Worlds was done in a false documentary style, as if it was actually happening.
A shockingly large number of people thought they were listening to an actual broadcast announcing the arrival of extraterrestrial aliens who were making war with the planet Earth.
The American public, although it likes to think of itself as very sophisticated and intelligent, is not immune to the effects of mass hysteria. They flooded telephone switchboards for their local police forces and their local media, demanding assistance and demanding answers about what was happening in the alien invasion of the United States.
On February 25th, 1942, the helplessness and fear Angelenos felt was very real, even if an imminent invasion was not. We may never know what triggered the barrage, be it a phantom aircraft or a case of nerves. Either way, the Battle of LA remains one of World War II's enduring, unsolved mysteries.